Hey there, this is Jonathan, and in the following tutorial, we're going to look at creating a Halloween card using vector graphics that we're able to get from online. Let's create a new document, and we're going to make sure that we create this the exact size that we need. So need to click on that until it appears. It remembers me already doing this because I want it to be 7 inches by 5 inches. The problem is that if I go to advanced options, I do want to make sure that I'm using RGB color instead of CMYK color. So it's going to be 7 by 5 inches in RGB color space. Then you'll hit create. Now, as soon as you've brought in this file, open up this file, you'll see that you have a lot of swatches and brushes and symbols. And we want to clear all of that out by going to Actions, delete unused panel items, and get rid of all that stuff. We can close the actions. Then we're going to get rid of that gray box and double click on the black and change it to 0, 0, and 0. Beautiful. So now we should have everything ready for us to start finding the files we need. I'd go ahead and save this so that you know where it's saved. I'm putting this in a temp folder, and I've already created that temp folder, and I'm going to put it right there. The proper name for this is 0404 Halloween card, and then your name. Beautiful. So I've now saved this card. Now we need to go get some graphics. Now there's a bunch of websites that you can get free vector graphics from. You can actually look for them online. One of the great ones is FreePic. Another good one is VectEasy. With VectEasy, you might notice that some of them say that they're pro. That means you won't be able to download them, but a lot of the other ones are free for you to use. To use any of these, you just click on it, and then you'll see that you can do a free license to download it by giving an attribution. I'm going to go ahead and skip this, hopefully. I don't want to join. Maybe it's because I've already brought in a few, so maybe I'll log in. It's possible that I already have an account and just didn't even know it. So I'm going to cancel that because let's see if this comes in. There we go. Yeah, I didn't know if it would do that or not, but sometimes that asking you to log in, and other times it will just download. Anyway, inside my Halloween card, I'm going to create a folder called Assets, and that's where I want you to put any of your downloaded files. Now, I've already downloaded some files, so I'm going to go to that folder and take a look at what's there. And you'll see I've got 3 files already, and here's the zip file I just downloaded. Since I have 7-zip, I can easily just drag out the file I need. An EPS or Illustrator AI file are proper. Then I'm going to go ahead and open up all of these files. Beautiful. Now, as soon as I open up one of these files, what we're going to start doing is trying to find the piece that we want for our particular project. So if you like something from one of these, you want to go ahead and see if you can click and select just that item. And then you're going to copy it or cut it, Control X if you want, and you're going to paste it into your file as well. And I might even put this over on the right-hand side, or maybe I could rotate it around and use it in a different way than it was used in the original. And I'll move that up to the top left, or top right, I mean. So there you go. I can have that over in the other corner instead. Now, if there's anything else that you want from that file, of course, go ahead and grab it. But I'm going to grab something else from here. Now, with this particular one, you'll notice that I have a house, and if I click and drag, the house parts are not actually part of this. So some of these files you're going to need to select the different elements and make sure that you have all of them selected and make a group of that object. Now I can cut it out and paste it into my file, and I've got just that one element. Now, a lot of things like this, if you know that you're not going to do a lot of editing with, you just keep it as the group. But we're going to look at something else here in just a second. Let me go back to this file. Let's see. I might grab some of these things out. Yeah, I kind of like these. You can see there's a bunch of different objects here. So I'm going to select multiple objects. and the background and copy that or cut it. So you'll notice it's gone. And I'll paste that in here and then start to put these back in my file. I might even go slightly off the edge just a little bit because I want this to be in a different spot. And then, of course, you can ungroup these things if you need to so that you can move them around freely and put them exactly where you want. So you can change the way that your graphic is designed. In fact, that's one of the things I'll definitely be looking for. I don't want you to grab any of the graphics and use them just as is, because that's not fun. That's not a really effective way at doing this kind of work. The idea is that you're using these resources and making them yours. You're applying them in a new way on your particular file. If you have a stroke on anything that you don't want, you might want to take that off, because I could tell that there was something going on there. And you might even want to select your objects and make sure that you're using your black swatch, the actual black swatch that you have there. Now, as soon as you've got some different layers, let's say that we want to bring in a background. So let's see, this one is pretty good. So I might bring this background in again. So I'm going to cut that background and paste it into my file. It's really, really big. But you might notice as you start to bring in graphics like this one that it's coming in much larger than I need. So I just need to scale it to the right place. You can see how much I do the zooming in and out to get to things. And I'm going to put that there. I think that's where it is. And now what I need to do is put this behind everything. If you right click, you're going to be using this quite a lot where you use arrange. I'm going to send this all the way to the back. Now you'll see it's behind these things. Now, since that's kind of a background layer and really all of this stuff is background right now, I'd really like to move those to their own layer. And you can separate these into different layers if you want. So the first one I definitely need is a background. So I'm going to create a new layer, call this my background layer. I'm going to put it beneath layer 1. And you'll see that since I have the background selected, I can click on that little plus right there, or the little blue dot, and drag that down. And I've now put that on that layer and I can lock it. Now I might consider moving some other things to another layer. So maybe I have a middle layer, and then I want some other stuff on a front layer. So the nice thing about this is that I can turn on and off the different layers and see what are on those layers. But what you have to be crucial about is knowing that you're on the correct layer for when you are editing the objects. So when you go and you grab a new object, like an eyeball from here, and you'll see this one's a little harder. I got to double click until I get all the way to that eyeball. There we go. Looks like I have the eyeball selected. I can now copy that or cut it, go back to here and paste. And you have to be careful about, well, which layer did I want to put that on? The front or the middle or the back? And you just have to make sure that you go and select the layer before you paste it, or you can just select it and move it with that little tiny box at any time. You can move it to the layer that you need. So now one other thing about this particular eyeball is that I know that I'm going to want more than one eyeball. So I can use this as a symbol. And this is one of the things I'd love to see you use. Make something a symbol by dragging it over to the symbol window and, of course, giving it a name. And the beauty of using symbols is that now I can use this eyeball multiple places in my file. And if I decided to go in and change something about this file, I could get that to be the change on every single eyeball. Now, the problem with that, and if I click back out, is if I don't want that one to be affected, I might have to break the link to the symbol so that I can edit this one separately than the others and make it a completely different eyeball. The problem is that it's no longer a symbol. So anyway, continue with your file and grab lots of assets from different places and pull them into one design. You're also going to want to add some text, so I'd love to see you use a custom font and make sure that that font is also in your assets folder so that we can see what that font was. You're going to have to load it though with portable apps. When you're done, you want to go ahead and save your file, of course. And we're also going to export, and you can use export for screens or export as. The difference though, when you use export for screens, is that you don't get to choose resolution settings. You just get to choose the size. If you go to export, export as, and you use PNGs, now I can use this artboard and I can save it in the same folder. And then I can choose the quality or resolution that I want at the end. Anti-aliasing should be art or type optimized, doesn't really matter. And my background is fine for it to be white or black. Since we are using a full color black background, then any of these should work. Click OK, and now you'll see that you have saved that into that folder, and there is your Halloween card at the size of 1050 by 750 pixels. Now, alternately, if you were to use the other method, which is export for screens, just be aware that you need to make this a 2x output instead of a 1x output if you want that 150. So I think that's it. Continue to create a really attractive card. A really interesting card. Play around with these vector graphics. Try and use small pieces. Don't bring in huge amounts of the graphics because I want to see that you're referencing lots of different vector files to be able to create this. And you might even have to use different fill colors or something like that so that you can get things to match. Versus just pulling in the files as is. And when you're done, save out your PNG, and then you're ready to submit. Thanks.